Welcome to the program, Kari Lake.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Are you?
Yes, it has been a crazy week.
Oh, I bet it has been. And arrows are coming your way everywhere. So, first of all...
You know what, though? You know what? Actually, no. I think a lot of love's coming my way from the people.
Oh,
Obviously, the arrows have been coming my way for a long time.
Yeah.
The people are just exactly fed up right now, and they know this stuff's going on, and I think it just verified that they're not wrong. This is the kind of world we're living in, the corrupt world in Washington, D.C. and in politics.
Right. So let's start kind of at the beginning. This guy was a friend and a coworker. He claims that we were friends. We were just having conversations. Do you record all of your conversations, or is there a reason why you had this conversation taped? Did he do it before? Yeah, go ahead.
Why would I record this? Well, I recorded it because it was about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and I got a call from Jeff DeWit, who is the chairman of the Arizona Republican Party, and he said, "Hey, what are you doing? I got to come over and talk to you." And I said, I'm a little busy right now. I'm actually packing for CPAC. I think you might have been at that CPAC.
Yep, I saw you there.
Finishing up my book. I don't have a lot of time. And he said, "Well, I'm right in your neighborhood. I'm going to be there in 5 minutes. What I have to talk to you about, I have to do in person. It can't be." And I said, "Jeff, at this point, a lot of people knew I was there was speculation I was going to run for Senate. And I said, if you're trying to talk me out of running for Senate, because I knew he had some friends who didn't want me to run for Senate, I'm not going to entertain that." And he said, no. I got to come over, but I can't do it on the phone. What I have to talk to you about. And I just got a bad feeling about it. I thought, is there going to be a threat? Why does he have to come to my door and talk to me?
I know I would record that conversation
as well.
That's why
I recorded it.
Yeah.
I just thought, if there's a threat, if he's going to threaten me, I need to have this on recording. I never even listened to it back until this week.
Okay,
I just said, okay, go ahead.
Okay, so wait a minute. So because his resignation letter was bizarre. If I wasn't doing things, I mean, I've had all kinds of conversations with Stu, but this is what I do. This is what I believe in. And if Stu said, I've got some tape and, I'm going to expose it, I'd come on and say, go ahead, expose it. We had many conversations. Some of them were difficult conversations, but none of them were unethical or illegal or anything like that. Why would he resign and say, I'm resigning because of her threat that she's got more tapes? Do you have more tapes, and did he do other things like this?
No, I don't. I don't have more tapes, and that's what is so disturbing about it, that he thinks that his behavior has been so unethical that he thinks there's worse stuff out there.
So you never said that you had more tapes to release. You never gave that threat to him.
I haven't talked to him, returned any calls, even texted him in a long time. And this is a bunch of BS. He's saying that I blackmailed him. I didn't even tell him I was putting it out. Usually if there's a blackmail situation, you say, this is going out if you don't do that.
So
he didn't even know until the media contacted him for comment. He didn't know it was going out.
Now you said
but
this. Go ahead.
He's behaved in a way that he thinks I think that the response, he said, there's more damaging video out there, or damaging stuff out there. And I'm like, what could be more damaging than 10 or 11 minutes of a bribery call? I mean, is there snuff film out there? What the heck is going on with this?
Okay, so I said when this tape came out, I was really angry and said, not another dime should go to the GOP. This guy should resign. If this is illegal, they should be arrested, anybody who was involved. If it wasn't illegal, it should be illegal. And I said, it's not just about this guy in Arizona. The most important thing to me was that a call came from back east. And the way he said it, it was very knowing. And you don't have to give any names, because if you do, you can get in trouble for slander or whatever. Unless you have something to back it up. Do you have a pretty good idea of who he meant by back east?
I don't know. I mean, I've thought about it long and hard. I've got some guesses I could make, but again, I'm not going to do that. The sad thing, though, Glenn, is you could sit there for hours and think about it and come up with a list of 300, 400, maybe 500 people or groups or organizations that it could be. And that it says a lot about the state of our government, the
Yes.
state of our political situation. It could be so many different people. Shows you how corrupt Washington, D.C. is.
Okay, so has anybody reached out to you from back east to say, hey, we got to get to the bottom of this? Anybody from the GOP? Nobody?
No, nobody from the GOP. I've had some great people reach out to me, senators who I think are fantastic,
Correct.
who said, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
we can't wait to get you in the Senate. We need somebody who isn't bought and paid for and influenced. And you would think, Glenn, I mean, and I appreciate you for having me on, and I've had some great interviews already on this, but the mainstream media, by the way, I went public with this within 24 hours. I went public. I flew out of town, went to CPAC, changed my entire speech, and I just talked about this. I said, I just got bribed by a pretty big political person to stay out of politics. Basically offering me, how much would it take to make you to stay out? And I brought my whole speech, I kind of wrapped around this, and mainstream media didn't reach out and say, who bribed you?
Can I tell you something, Kari? I mean, I've heard those things before. I've had things like this happen to me before, and I've referenced them, but I didn't have a tape. Why did you not? Because I would have had you on the next day had I thought that you had proof of it, and maybe it was just me for just dropping the ball here. Why did you wait for the tape to be released or to say, I have a tape of it?
Well, I didn't want to release anything, and I also didn't listen to it. I taped it because I was afraid there was going to be a physical threat, and when there wasn't, I just kind of put that file away and never even dealt with it. But I felt that going public with it the next day or within 24 hours when I went on the CPAC stage, and since then, again, this was 11 months ago.
Oh, I know. I was there. I heard you, and it didn't occur to me to ask you if you had evidence of it. And I'm sorry. I should have.
No, that's okay.
Well,
but I didn't listen to it until this week. I just went, oh my gosh, I have a recording of that. And I was eating dinner with my husband. My daughter was eating dinner with us. And I tracked it down and found it and hit play while we were eating dinner. And literally, as vivid as I recalled it, and I think when I did my speech at CPAC, I described it pretty well. Our jaws dropped to the floor. We were shocked. I went, oh my gosh, this is so much worse than I even remembered it being. And my daughter was shocked. She said, tell me that guy doesn't work in politics anymore. I said, he heads up the Arizona GOP. And she said, what are you going to do about it, Mom? And I thought, I didn't really want to put that out, but how disappointing when your kids hear something like that and then you just sit on it.
Well,
I didn't want to.
I will tell you. You won a primary, did you not?
In the governor's race, yes.
Yeah, but no, not yet.
The
primary happens when in Arizona.
August.
In August. Oh, geez.
I'm up 40 points against the competitor that I'm running against.
How many points?
Depending on the poll, 30 or 40 points.
Okay,
I'm not
good.
really working
So
primary.
Here's the amazing thing that, somebody back east, powerful people really want you to go away. They don't want you in the Senate. I know that there is a big Senate fund, and I'm not making any accusations, but I know there's a big Senate fund that is that the GOP has, that is controlled by one individual who does have a pattern of supporting people that are not MAGA at any cost, even if it means we lose a Senate race. And they're not going to get behind you. First of all, if you're leading by 30 or 40 points, then you're the obvious candidate. Let the people of Arizona decide, but you should be getting support from the GOP. And if somebody is trashing our system and they are offering bribes so people go away, that all has to be exposed. I can't call out corruption on the other side if I don't call it out on our side.
Oh, 100%. I don't want corruption anywhere. I don't want it on the left. I don't want it on the right. And right now, Glenn, it seems like we have a lot of corruption in the Republican Party. And there's just this, and I think a lot of it is resistance to Trump. They don't want Trump running. And I don't know if it's because he's going to reveal a lot of the corruption. Frankly, I want people going to Washington, D.C., who Washington, D.C. doesn't want.
Oh, me too. So,
and, the media now is covering this, and they're trying to, he was just offering her a job. It's like, no. And they're just, you talked about it. You have conversations with your friends. You run a business. Have you ever had a conversation like this? Is not normal.
No.
Anybody else who runs a business, if this is the kind of normal conversations you're having, you're probably in the mafia.
Well, quite honestly, I mean, it says a lot about people who leave Congress and before they run for another higher office, they go to work for these companies and seem to bide their time. There have been accusations by the guy who did it that you edited the tape. Is there any truth to that?
I put 10 or 11 minutes that involved the bribe. And I don't know how you could say that was, I forget the word he used.
Out of context.
Some sort out of context. How do you take 10 minutes of bribery out of context?
I mean, Stu and I were talking about this yesterday, and I said the only way it can be taken out of context is if the sentence before was, everything I'm about to say, I'm totally making up, Kari. That's the only way to take it out of context.
Or I got to describe a scene from a movie I just watched.
Yes.
Here's how it went.
Yes. But the tape you gave us is...
he said it was creative editing. Yes,
right.
The tape I gave you is an honest tape. I pulled 10 or 11 minutes, I forget, I think it's a little over 10, of him trying to bribe me.
But you did not splice around or edit anything out of those 11 minutes?
Nope.
Okay.
It's all of the bribery part. And I didn't say, hey, welcome, I got you a cup of coffee, all of that. But, this is not taken out of context. This is not creative editing. Creative editing would be a 30-second clip.
Yeah.
This is a conversation about him bribing me.
So
there's no ifs, ands, and buts, and he's afraid there's worse stuff out there. It tells you a lot about him.